Would you pay $200 for a Tom Brady recipe book? Dr. Ben Carson says there may not actually be an election held in 2016 at all. And a Christian family whose children had been captured by Muslims found a grisly surprise waiting for them on their doorstep. A plastic bag with body parts of their daughters and a video of them being raped and tortured. My name is Howard Riell, and this is Riell Truth. You're listening to the American Freedom Network, streaming live around the world at AmericanNewsNet.com and on Facebook and YouTube and Tumblr and in the book Riell Truth Stay Angry. And of course, as always, broadcasting out across the Colorado Front Range on KHNC, Johnstown, Colorado, 1360 AM The Lion. Our call-in number remains the same, 877-254-7524. My friends, believe me when I tell you, it is with a heavy heart that I bring you news items like that last one that I mentioned. I get no thrill from it. It tears away at my heart that anybody, any human being should have to deal with something this horrible. But I'm buoyed by the fact that the only way to keep that thing from happening more and more and more is to talk about it. To expose it to the light of day, let everybody know about it. Because when you're silent about things, they don't change. All right, now let's start the show. Item from truthandaction.org, and one of the most ominous observations ever by a presidential candidate, Dr. Ben Carson indicated he believes there may not actually be an election held in 2016 at all. He suggests President Barack Obama may conjure up multiple reasons why it's not prudent to hand over the reins of government to someone besides himself in a time of crisis. And there are a number of troubling indications that Carson may be right. Obama has shown himself to be a believer in not letting a good crisis go to waste, even one that is self-created. We should consider such events as the Ebola virus scare and associated mandatory quarantine as one way to ensure the public is prevented from congregating in the open. The almost $19 trillion in government debt and the possibility that the Chinese yuan could become the world currency of choice could bring the American economy crashing down, leading to massive riots as welfare, EBT, Medicaid, Medicare cards failures make them become worthless. Certainly the potential or even the likelihood of Islamic terrorism on our own shores could lead to a widespread crisis, all suggesting that Obama could declare a change of leadership to be inconvenient and perhaps even impossible for an indeterminate period of time. Unquote. We'll be back.
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
Hillary Clinton is facing a lot of backlash after the Washington Free Beacon.
Said you wouldn't react in a panic? Is there one place to get all of your emergency supplies? Ferris Survival encourages you to have confidence through preparation, not panic through crisis. Ferris Survival, located at 3366 South Broadway, is a professional, reputable, full-service business providing quality, realistic preparedness supplies at an affordable price. Go online, stop by, or call 303-781-0343. Ferris Survival.
Piccolo's restaurant in Denver reminds us that over 750,000 children were reported missing last year. Over 58,000 of these were abducted by non-family members. Keep an eye out for youngsters at play, and if you see anything suspicious, contact the authorities immediately. This message from Piccolo's restaurant in Denver. It's not only the best Italian and Mexican cuisine, it's the people who care. Give them a call at 303-757-5166. 303-757-5166. Piccolo.
Okay, I'm back. I am back. Of that there is no doubt. Howard Riell, Riell Truth. My friends, if you listen to the media, then you think Donald Trump is a woman hater and a racist. Now, those things are not true. It's just that the media, the major media, the big corporate-owned media, thinks you're stupid enough to believe it if they say it often enough. And in fairness, there are an awful lot of Americans who are stupid enough to believe it because they hear it. But the media doesn't know what they're talking about. They know what they're just making it up, because who's to say nay? Well, here's a woman who will say nay. Her name is Lynn Patton, and she is a black female executive in the Trump Corporation. She knows Donald Trump close up from working with him every single day for years. She knows what he's about. Let's listen.
Today I was compelled to sit down and write this letter. Not to anyone in particular, maybe even just for myself, but as a black female executive at the Trump Organization, I could no longer remain silent about the repeated and reprehensible attempts to align my boss and his family with racist hate-mongering groups, campaigns, and messaging. As the daughter of a man born in Birmingham, Alabama, who rose against all odds to become one of the most established and respected doctors at Yale University, there is no amount of money in the world that could buy my loyalty to a family that subscribed to such intolerant and bigoted ideologies. The Trump family that I know is, without question, one of the most generous, compassionate, and philanthropic families I've ever had the privilege of knowing and the honor to call friends. They have been incredibly loyal to me and to the countless dedicated people they employ around the world, hiring more minority and female executives than any other company for which I've ever worked. To equate racism with my boss's call for a temporary moratorium on a flawed immigration system that radical Islamic terrorists continue to exploit, or the construction of an impassable wall to protect our borders from the influx of illegal drugs, is not only incendiary, it's wholly irresponsible and only serves to embolden the very hatred these draconian groups espouse. What common sense American wants another terrorist attack on our soil, or to perpetuate this country's rampant drug epidemic? But to compare my boss to Adolf Hitler, simply to spin your own political agenda or social media punchline, is a personal affront to the extermination of over 6 million Jews and trivializes one of the worst acts of human genocide this world has ever seen. Rest assured, I am a highly intelligent, free-thinking, and independent woman. My opinions and decisions are based solely in fact, not fiction, speculation, assumption, or hearsay. I do not vote based upon the color of my skin, nor the signature on my paycheck. I judge my friends and forge my allegiances from direct personal interaction and moral character. That said, there is no higher barometer by which to measure oneself than the one continually set by this family and their spouses, and I should know. Like many Americans, I have struggled with substance abuse and addiction. The Trump family has stood by me through immensely difficult times without hesitation or concern for their own reputation by association. They continue to trust me with every aspect of their lives and the lives of their families. They invite me into their homes and welcome me at their family gatherings. For the past 6 years, I have held an executive position as it pertains to the distribution of their charitable funds, and they have charged me to identify worthy and altruistic missions. I could not be more humbled. This is the Trump family that I know. Only up until now, it's all just been opposing campaign rhetoric and paid protesters. But then, a letter came. And I thought to myself, who does this person think he is to threaten to kill somebody else's family? Any family. This family. My family. All because of a political race, a campaign. But then I realized that this isn't just a race to Mr. Trump. This isn't just a race to his family, nor to our veterans or the unemployed. And because of that, this family is willing to risk their own lives each and every day for the greater good of this country. But I would be lying if I said I didn't fear for them now. There is a movement sweeping this brave nation, and I am honored to have a front row seat to it on a daily basis. This country has spoken. My boss has justly earned the Republican nomination and broken voter registration records in countless states across America. This cannot be denied. He has brought this party together by drawing more Democrats, more independents, and more first-time voters into the GOP fold, and has earned more Republican votes than any other presidential candidate in modern history. That must be respected. To the skeptics who will undoubtedly claim that I'm doing this at the behest of the Trump family or with the promise of reward, I deliberately chose not to seek their approval nor counsel in advance of this video for fear that they would be more concerned for me and its potential viral ramifications than they would be for themselves, and the fact that quite simply, this is the right thing to do. For me, it was an easy decision, just as voting for my boss, Donald J. Trump, should be an easy decision for you. God bless this family, God bless the voters, and God bless the United States of America.
My friends, you will find this video on my Facebook page, Riell Truth Radio. It's worth sharing. You know, there's an expression in Yiddish. I don't remember the Yiddish words, but I remember the expression. Truth has its own unique sound. Most people know when they're hearing the truth. And most people use their good common sense and gut instinct to know when they're hearing lies, when they're hearing propaganda. If you're listening to this show, I'm betting that you've got that gut instinct. And when you hear me talk about the things I talk about, you know that I have no agenda. No one's paying me. I'm not seeking elective office. I'm here because I care about this great country and the people who live in it. And I want the very best. And that video and that young woman on it bear the unmistakable ring of truth. And I know it jives with everything else I've seen and heard about Trump. Then I turn on the cable stations and I hear the most despicable lies and slanders. Now, I'm not friends with Donald Trump, never met the man, no connection to him whatsoever, so I have no motivation to run interference for him. My only motivation is this. Of all the candidates who've run for president this year, he's the only one who's not owned body and soul by the big special interests. He's got a long record of excellence, of accomplishment, achievement, and of caring about people. And that's why I talk about him on this show every single day. We'll take a break and we'll be back. More Riell Truth.
Howdy, folks. Have you ever thought about having your own backyard chickens? Now you have a source for certified organic, no GMO, no soy chicken feed. HappyHens.biz can even deliver, or you can pick up. Call me, Tim, at 303-829-5948, or go to happyhens.biz for pricing and ingredients. At happyhens.biz, we love happyhens.biz, or call us at 303-829-5948.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tom Phillips, founder of the Green Herb. How many times have you gone into a health food store and are confused as to the many different brands and prices on the same herbal supplements? You want to buy the cheapest, but you're afraid that quality is less, so you buy the most expensive. Truth is, the cheapest may be better. Green Herb herbal supplements are all manufactured in our Wheat Ridge, Colorado plant at 4565 Kipling Street using the highest quality herbs that we source from all over the world. Our 150 different herbal supplements are the most potent and safest in America. Our guarantee is your money back, no time limit, just return the bottle empty or full, no questions asked. So when you come to our new location, look for our new name, New Genesis Health, or call us at 888-765-HERB. That's 888-765-4372.
Tonight on CNN, they said
the Lord brings the counsel of the nations to nothing. He makes the plans of the people of no effect. The counsel of the Lord stands forever, the plans of his heart to all generations. Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord, the people he has chosen as his own inheritance. Psalm 33, verses 10 through 12.
And Just like that, we're back. Howard Riell. The show is called Riell Truth. Item from shoebat.com. More savagery from the Islamic State. Yet America and the West continue their apathetic non-action against them because we do not care about Christians, women, girls, or persecuted minorities at all. And yet these Christians still forgive those who are murdering them. These women and children are ignored and forgotten by the West, but not by God, who is infinitely merciful but also infinitely just, and whose wrath against not only ISIS for its actions, but for the intentional lack of action by the West in the face of this evil. The Catholic News Agency described the stories shared by human rights activists at the hashtag WeAreN 2016 International Congress on Religious Freedom as, quote, graphic, brutal, and raw. Quote, one account told of a couple whose children had been captured by ISIS militants. When they answered their door one day, they found a plastic bag on their doorstep. It contained the body parts of their daughters and a video of them being raped and tortured, the report described. Another account shared that ISIS fighters in Mosul, Iraq, came to the house of a Christian woman threatening her to leave or pay the jizya tax. Before the woman could leave the house with her daughter, who was in the shower at the time, the militants torched the house, burning the daughter alive. The girl reportedly died in her mother's arms, with her last words being, forgive them. A Yazidi teenage girl, 15-year-old Samia Sleiman, spoke about her 6 months in ISIS captivity, revealing that there are thousands of women and girls being held as sex slaves by the extremists. What's more, the jihadists rape girls as young as 7 years of age and force them to convert to Islam. Why are these innocent kids and these innocent people suffering this much in that region, Sleiman asked. Why don't we see any action being taken? Even though it's been over a year and a half now, we've seen horrible things happen to us minorities, especially Yazidis and Christians in that region, and we don't see the international community taking concrete actions against the Islamic State. Unquote. My friends, I don't see the West taking action against Muslims either. Instead, I see the West inviting Muslims into their countries, into their borders, into their communities, dropping them off, literally dropping them off by the scores on street corners in American cities as well as in Europe. This must be mass insanity. And if you've got children, if you've got daughters, or for that matter sons, or wives, or mothers, you need to be scared. And I mean really scared. Let's go to a video. InfoWars. Alex Jones talking to a former guest here on Riell Truth, Dr. Jerome Corsi, whose writings can be found on WorldNet Daily. He is a celebrated journalist, and he's here talking about Donald Trump. Let us listen.
Precedented, and I see it happening in Donald Trump and want to defend him because what he's saying is true, and he's being misconstrued and taken out of context, but I know he was for the assault weapons ban, he supported Hillary, and Dr. Corsi years ago talks to Trump a lot and had his concerns, so he joins us now to cover the waterfront from WND.com. Doctor, thanks for taking time out.
Hi, Alex. It's always a great pleasure to be with you. Thank you.
Yes, sir. So you got the floor. What do you want to tackle first?
Well, I mean, let's follow up on Donald Trump and your comments on Donald Trump. I mean, first of all, I think Donald Trump is, this time, I think he's for real, much more than before. And I don't really think that's the real question. The real question is that Donald Trump has moved the debate of the presidential election onto a ground that is, one, telling the truth and saying things directly, not worrying about being politically correct. That's drawing Donald Trump a very big audience. And secondly, on immigration, he's put the immigration topic on the front burner. And he's really ignited the topic such that even Hispanics can say, look, we're not for a round of illegals that are criminals. We are not invading the country,
So for all the talk of
take it over with criminals and undesirable people. I think that this is the proper time to call the Obama administration for failure to enforce immigration laws, and Donald Trump is on that agenda. He's doing a good job, and I support his efforts. I think he's really leading the debate, and I'd say quit worrying about if he's going to stay in the debate or where it's going to go. The fact is he's doing a good job right now, and he's probably likely to continue that. as long as he's winning support and gaining attention.
All right, my friends, it's important when a guy like Corsi talks because he's got all the street cred, all the credibility in the world. He doesn't mince words, and he also has no agenda. He's a journalist. And if he says Trump is the real deal, you know that he is. Now, let's jump to Fox News. Megyn Kelly interviewing Paul Manafort. Manafort is the convention manager hired by Donald Trump a month or two ago, who's about to talk about Donald Trump winning, becoming the presumptive nominee for the Republicans, and now looking forward to Hillary Clinton. Here's Fox News' Megyn Kelly, Paul Manafort.
At least one man accurately predicted that would not be the case. Just days after Ted Cruz's final primary victory in early April, Paul Manafort said Donald Trump would secure this nomination prior to the convention. Listen.
This convention process will be over with sometime in June, probably June 7th, and it'll be apparent to the world that Trump is over the 1237 number, and at that point in time, when it is apparent, everything's going to come together.
You think Trump gets to 1237?
Absolutely.
Before the convention?
Absolutely.
In fact, Mr. Trump did all that and more. Joining us now, the man you just heard from, Paul Manafort, Trump campaign strategist and convention manager. Paul, great to see you.
Good to see you.
So what did you see that the rest of America did not?
Well, Donald Trump was running an historic campaign when I joined the campaign. He had put the first modern campaign together in dealing with social media, dealing with earned media, and dealing with speaking directly to the American people. He didn't have any of the traditional organizational elements that were keeping his campaign afloat. And so in the beginning, when he was winning primaries, he was accomplishing his objective by really having his message resonate with the American people. As the process got closer to the middle and the end, the campaign needed to focus more on not just winning, but winning with specific delegate totals in the states. And that's when he reached out and asked me to join him. And what I started was a tremendous candidate, probably the best communicator since Ronald Reagan, as far as having a vision, having a message, and being able to communicate over the media, over the noise of a campaign. And so it just needed to make sure that the campaign structures were serving his needs, to make sure that he was not just communicating with people, not just winning, but winning what I call smart, or focusing on delegates. Mm-hmm. And the path was clear. He had overachieved by the time the primaries were halfway over, and his numbers were much higher than I think most of his opponents thought they would be as far as delegates were concerned. And as the other campaigns started to fail and drop off, it was his message that was resonating, and the fact that we were able to make sure it was heard in all the right places at the right times. The campaign came together, and you saw him not just winning, but winning with 50%, 55, then 60.
His margin started to go up. Now, when you spoke to some party leaders down in Hollywood, Florida, they were meeting at one of their regular meetings. You said, look, the part he's been playing, those are your words, in the primary process is going to change as he goes forward and faces more of a general election contest. Did you believe that, sort of the bombast of the first 9-10 months wouldn't be suitable for the next challenge he faces?
No, the question was focusing on the kind of environments that he would be giving speeches in. And part of what was reported out was only focusing on the rallies that he was doing. What I was talking about was he was going to start moving into other arenas, other formats.
But what do you think about that? I mean, in terms of tone, he's been asked about this too. What kind of Donald Trump do you think we're going to be seeing now, in other words? Same guy we saw all along, or a difference?
There's no reason for Donald Trump to change a thing. I mean, he's just won a historic race against 16 opponents. He's now the highest vote getter in Republican history as far as the primary process is concerned, and he beat the field handily, so there's nothing for Donald Trump to change.
But do you know why critics say that he would have to consider it because he was running with Republican voters before, and now he needs to get more than just Republicans to want to vote for him?
Yeah, but those critics also said he would never get to 30% or 40% or 50% and would never be the nominee. They don't understand the Trump phenomenon. And they don't understand that his connection to the people is not being a conventional candidate, but to be a candidate who is being honest and forthright and talking about the real problems and making clear that they understand that he's going to bring real solutions, not just Washington talk.
Is it true you told him to step away from the Twitter?
I would never tell him to do that.
You didn't say anything about the tweeting or retweeting?
there was no reason for him to step away from the Twitter. He was doing fine, and again, there was nothing.
Even he has admitted that there were a couple mistakes on the Twitter.
He can admit that. I'm not going to admit that.
You're a loyal soldier.
No, but I mean, he understood what was going on. There was no reason to change that.
Well, I mean, it's not a question of his honesty and but some of the things.
What needed to be changed was the structure needed to become more conventional. That's what wasn't there when I joined the campaign, and that's what we brought to the campaign.
So what happens now? We cited the general election poll, and you know that in 99% of the polls, she's beating him right now. We're 7 months out, but she's beating him. New York Times has an article today saying Donald Trump's faring worse than Romney among white voters in all presidential battleground states, even in states Romney won, like Colorado, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. Big disadvantage in Florida, in Virginia, even in North Carolina and Arizona, which Mitt Romney won. They're saying he's not matching up to Mitt Romney when it comes to the white vote, and that's what he's really going to need to win. So how do you and he turn that around?
Polls today aren't really relevant. In 1980, Ronald Reagan was down by 25 points to Jimmy Carter at this point in time. We just come through a bruising Republican primary. There's plenty of time for Donald Trump to fix those issues. Plus, there are polls out today that show him down 2 and up 2. So the polls are all over the place, and they're not really.
They're not really. There's one poll, a Rasmussen poll, that shows him up 2.
There's a battleground poll that shows him down 3. And so, they're all over the place. But the important thing is the polls aren't relevant today, given that we've now are starting the process of unifying the party. We're going to have a positive convention. We're not going to be dealing with the kinds of problems that the Democrats are going to be dealing with at their convention. And Donald Trump will have the time to put together the general campaign structure, work with the RNC.
Any thoughts on VP nomination?
He's just started those deliberations. He did not want to get involved in thinking about those things.
Do you believe when people say that it has to be somebody like Susana Martinez, a woman, a Latina?
He said he's looking for somebody who has Washington experience and someone who can help him in dealing with the problems in foreign policy and defense policy. That's more important in my judgment, and that's what he thinks, which is even more important.
I gotta go, but I gotta ask you this question. He has promised a better convention than the Republicans had 4 years ago. They don't do stagecraft very well. It's true that Obama's convention was so much better than Romney's last. It just was. Sorry, Mitt. What are we gonna get? Some kind of new band? What are we gonna see?
Donald Trump understands television. I think you'll find our convention will be gripping, and you'll want to watch every minute of it.
And I certainly will be there. Paul, it's great to see you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
My friends, the polls don't mean very much for a variety of reasons. First of all, there are just plain more Democrats in America than Republicans. That's thing number one. Thing number two is that the party is not yet coalesced around Trump, but once they do, they'll be pointing these rhetorical cannons at Hillary Clinton, and she will fall apart. And don't forget my prediction. Hillary will be indicted before the election ever arrives, and she will drop out of the race. So it will all end up having been much ado about nothing. We have got, let's see, commercial break coming up soon. Let's get some more news item. From CBS News Dateline, Foxborough, Massachusetts. Want to eat like Tom Brady? The New England Patriots quarterback is selling a limited edition nutrition manual through his fitness company, TB12, for $200. Brady's company says an initial printing of the book has already sold out, and new orders will begin shipping in early June. Unquote. My friends, I got to tell you, I don't have a high opinion of any of the yahoos who shelled out $200 plus tax for a cookbook, just because there's a celebrity quarterback's name and picture on it. I've talked about this many times, my friends. I've given you a good tongue lashing in the past. We are a celebrity-obsessed society. There are cookbooks by the millions out there, all of them, as far as I know, good. I don't cook. But to sell a cookbook only because it's got a quarterback's name and picture on it, and to sell it for $200, just proves the old axiom that you can sell anything to some people. I think it's wasteful, I think it's foolish, and I think it talks about the wrong direction that America's traveling in. When in tight economic times, they'll spend that much money for a book they could get at Barnes & Noble for about $5. We'll take a break and we'll be back. More Riell Truth.
Howdy, folks. Have you ever thought about having your own backyard chickens? Now you have a source for certified organic, no GMO, no soy chicken feed. HappyHens.biz can even deliver, or you can pick up. Call me, Tim, at 303-829-5948, or go to happyhens.biz for pricing and ingredients. At happyhens.biz, we love happyhens.biz, or call us at 303-829-5948.
Great Plains Power has been providing reliable electrical power systems in the Rocky Mountain area since 1992. Our systems rely on the sun to help make you self-reliant for your power needs. Solar energy can be scaled to fit any situation, from complete power independence to backup power for the short term. Our expertise focuses on standalone power, but we have extensive experience with utility interactive systems as well. Custom tailored capabilities as modest emergency lighting all the way to commercial scale power. Great Plains Power is a full service company. We service everything we sell. We provide and design turnkey packages, custom design system, and parts for do-it-yourself. With more than 20 years of specialized experience at your disposal, let us know what your power concerns or goals are. Reach us by phone or the internet. Call 303-239-9963. That's 303-239-9963. Or go to GreatPlainsSolar.com. And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. John bore witness of him and cried out, saying, This was he of whom I said, He who comes after me is preferred before me, for he was before me. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 14 and 15. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just power from the consent of the governed. This is the America News Network.
Census, the uniform people really ask everyone to get involved in our community this holiday season. Whether it's a toy for a needy child, care package for military members, or giving the gift of life by giving blood, you can make a difference and directly affect someone else's life. This message is from Census, the uniform people in Greeley. Call 352-2233. They're on the air because they care. Named one of the most admired outsourcing companies in America. Census.
All right, guys, welcome back to Riell Truth. Howard Riell. It's possible that some of you folks have been switching the dial and you happened upon my show, you like the sound of my voice, but you're Hillary supporters. Well, if you are, welcome to Riell Truth. I'm frankly surprised you knew how to turn on the radio, but if you want to hear about Hillary, you got it, my friends. Here is Sean Hannity on Fox News talking about Hillary.
And welcome back to Hannity. Hillary Clinton is facing a lot of backlash after the Washington Free Beacon unearthed audio tapes from the 1980s of her. Now, she recalls her time as a lawyer specifically when she defended a man accused of raping a 12-year-old girl, even though she thought he was guilty at the time.
That tape I represented that guy. It was a fascinating case. It was a really interesting case. This guy was accused of raping a 12-year-old. Of course, he claimed that he did all this stuff. He took a lie detector test. I had to take a polygraph, which he passed, which forever destroyed my faith in polygraphs.
How did it turn out?
Oh, he took arguments. Got off. Was time served in the county jail. He's in the county jail about 2 months.
And look what else we got our hands on. Hillary Clinton from the early 90s claiming that she cared about women and children.
Over the past 25 years, I have worked persistently on issues relating to women, children, and families. It is a violation of human rights when individual women are raped in their own communities. It is a violation of human rights when a leading cause of death worldwide among women ages 14 to 44 is the violence they are subjected to in their own homes by their own relatives.
Here with reaction to more, the always outspoken Ann Coulter. Nobody in the media is covering this story. Now, She got the guy off with time served, even though she said, I gave up my faith in polygraphs. So she's defending somebody she knows is guilty of raping a 12-year-old girl, gets him off, is laughing about it on tape, and then is the great champion of women.
Right. Right. Well, first of all, I do love the Southern accent, not as much as when she does a black accent, but the Southern accent is fun. No, I think this is a pretty serious matter, and I first heard about it on your radio show. I didn't know what you were talking about. I don't think this is going to go over well with normal people because it fits in with the whole idea, both of the Democratic Party and particularly the Clintons, that they are just con artists pretending to care about the little guy while they're using legal trickery to perpetrate injustices on the weak and powerless, which is what Hillary Clinton did here. I mean, this poor girl, if you read about what the crime was, it's quite shocking, more than comes across in that little fake Southern accent conversation she gives. It was two guys who brutally raped and beat a 12-year-old girl who was a virgin. She was made infertile. She was in a coma for 5 days. And Hillary Clinton not only defended this guy, do not believe what they are saying elsewhere, that lawyers are required to do this. Oddly enough, I am a lawyer. I practice law. I don't know any lawyers who have defended criminals. I mean, personally.
She said she did it as a favor.
You have to reach out to take these cases. No one forces you to defend, Ted Bundy. It's always the same lawyers doing it. In any event, she submitted an affidavit claiming that this poor 12-year-old girl was a fantasist, that she had falsely accused other people before. When the girl was presented with this recently, she didn't know that Hillary had worked so hard to get her rapist off. She said, I don't know what she's talking about. She's lying in this affidavit. How can we trust her as president if she'll lie in a court case to defend the rapist of a young girl? And I just think it fits into this whole, I feel your pain phoniness of the Clintons. Often the scandals that hurt the most, like Gary Hart, for example, being caught in the monkey business having an affair. When it hurts the most is when it fits into an image a sneaking suspicion people already have about you, and that is the suspicion people have about the Clintons, the big defenders of women and children. She's laughing about getting a guilty rapist off. I think there's a big issue. I think it's bigger than Benghazi.
And I got to tell you, and you think back to the last election campaign, and one of the big stories was that Mitt Romney may have cut some kid's hair in high school.
No, but I'm sorry, the contrast is just shocking. What is it, the Cranbrook School up in Grosse Pointe, Michigan? They have to go back 40, 50 years, and I think the kids' parents were defending Mitt Romney, some high school alleged prank that neither the family nor Mitt Romney remembered. And they're running that every day on the cover of the Washington Post. This is when Hillary Clinton was an adult, when she was a practicing lawyer, and it fits in with what I would say not only about the Clintons, but about the Democratic Party generally, this nonsense. I never want to hear about the Republican war on women anymore. In addition to this, we have just this week New York taxpayers spending $40 million to pay off 5 savage rapists from Central Park, which I've written about a lot, including in my book Demonic. There's no question that these 5 were guilty. And again, it's just legal chicanery and the powerful putting one over on innocent victims of rapists.
You have sold multiple #1 best-selling books. $84,000 for a $14 or $15 million advance. Hillary claiming she was broke the year she got an $8 million book deal. Seriously. And then she says, today, that, Bill and I aren't well off. And meanwhile, Chelsea Clinton says, I tried real hard to care about money. She got a $600,000 salary for almost a no-show job in television.
Yes. What did they calculate it was per minute?
Oh, it's crazy.
$16,000 per minute Chelsea spent on NBC's airwaves. No, Hillary does not have the light touch that Bill Clinton does, and that's saying something, since I don't think he's so charming and charismatic despite the rumors. But that business about dead broke, what's funny is to see liberals, they flash back and forth between viciously attacking Mitt Romney for having worked for his money. He gave away all the money he inherited, worked for his money, made himself a wealthy man, and then when Hillary Clinton, who has acquired all of this money by being married to an adulterous president, and we must make a president now, that's how she gets her money, and they turn around and start citing, FDR. Well, we want our presidents to be richer than we are. Wait, you weren't saying that about Mitt Romney. It was all Mr. Elitist out of touch.
And Coulter, good to see you.
it is good to see Ann Coulter, and it's good to hear her, and it's good to hear some common sense, and it's good to hear some truth about Hillary Clinton, who is a piece of trash. Now, she won't say that on Fox News, and Fox News wouldn't air it. But I'll say it, because this is not the corporate-owned media. Here, truth reigns supreme. Item from The Sun. Britain is home to more than 3 million Muslims for the first time ever, with more than half born outside the UK, according to new figures. Soaring immigration and sky-high birth rates have seen the number in the country double in a little over a decade. Some parts of London are now almost 50% Islamic, according to analysis from the Office for National Statistics. If current trends continue, the areas could become majority Muslim within 10 years. 1 in 4 Muslims in England and Wales are under 10 years old, more than any other age group, indicating a very high birth rate within the community. Followers of Islam now make up 1 of every 20 people within the country. Across the country, there are now 3,114,992 Muslims, blah, 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 blah. The number has more than tripled in the last quarter of a century, when less than 1 million were in the country in 1991. My friends, that's good news for the Muslims. It's bad news for anyone who's not a Muslim. Bad news for anyone who likes religion, freedom of speech. Bad news for anyone who doesn't want to walk down the street and be intimidated, insulted, spat upon, maybe beaten, raped, or killed. Yeah, for them it's pretty crummy news. We'll take a break. Riell Truth will be back.